Yeah, so I spent some time amongst the Inca, Bolivia, Peru, and so there's also a journey into looking at how to open up doorways between the worlds, the upper world, the middle world, the lower world. Not necessarily using plant substances or
Mhm.
psychedelics,
Mhm.
but just through understanding the energy systems, working with the doorways that exist within our own energy bodies. This is what I like to teach, because
Yeah.
everybody has access to this and it's important. And it's the same energy system used in Japan, which works with the hara and the Tien, or in India, you have the chakras and the yogic practices. In the Native American Inca traditions, you have the Navis and various other practices to access the same energy bodies, slightly different um, formulas, slightly different practices, slightly different names, and even the actual uh, energy centers are slightly different. But
Right.
ultimately, once you recognize how to open them and activate them and balance them and blend the different energy bodies together. So, all these traditions talk about at least 5 energy bodies and
Mhm.
maybe more. We have become so locked up in our conscious mind
Mm.
that we don't recognize that the conscious mind is only one tiny little aspect of understanding the universe. There's other levels of the mind where we can access other levels of information, other planes and dimensions. So all these practices help us to understand more of who we are. And once we understand who we are, then we can have an impact on the world. We can be more useful for the earth, for the human race, for creating the new earth. We tend to see ourselves through other people's eyes rather than trusting our own knowing. And as we begin to develop this self confidence, trust our own knowing, our own unique uh, purpose, because then we can be more present for ourselves, we can be more confident within ourselves, we can be more joyful because we're fulfilling something that's uniquely ours, and we can be more useful on this earth. So, well, my focus would be for people to develop uh, psychological as well as spiritual maturity. And they go together. We can't really develop our spiritual maturity until we have a good sense of who we are, until we have healed some of the trauma that we've carried from the past, until we've learned to forgive other people and ourselves, until we have learned to integrate the different aspects of our being, the inner child, the functional aspect, the mystical aspects. So these are all aspects that exist within each one of us. The masculine, the feminine, the spiritual, the material, the human, the divine. These all exist within each one of us. So integrating this from a center where the soul can be anchored. So who we are is the soul. We think we are separate. We think we are separate from each other. We think we see ourselves as fragmented, as somehow limited. But once we connect with soul consciousness, we realize that we're unlimited, that there's nothing that holds us back from being the truth of who we are and the endless possibilities of human existence, which is also divine existence. We came to this earth to be vehicles, to be mirrors for this divine force. And how do we integrate that? How do we access that? How do we achieve this connection? So then we can begin to integrate the spiritual with the psychological aspects of our being. So part of what I would like to do with people is to move into that integration mode through energy practices so that we can open up to a multidimensional self. So there's the physical body, the etheric or prana or chi body. Then we have the emotional body, the mental body, the soul body. And all of this are aspects of who we are as the divine self, the infinite consciousness. And there are very specific and easy techniques to learn how to access that. Then once we learn how to access that, then we can begin to let go of the limited self and begin to integrate this unlimited self. We can begin to let go of our wounds, our traumas, our illusions, and begin to understand the truth of who we are. That changes our vibrational frequency. Once we become more integrated, our vibrational frequency changes, and then we begin to attract events, circumstances, people into our life that are gentle, that are loving, that are powerful, that are beautiful. So it's all, life is always a mirror. The universe outside of us is a mirror of the universe inside of us. So once we recognize that, then we're empowered to, be the fullness of who we are. And it's important for people to have a simple practice that they can do for themselves every single day. And the nice thing about doing these practices is when we get more connected with ourselves or multidimensional within ourselves, then the fears just naturally go away. Because fear comes when we feel separate, when we feel disconnected, or when we feel that something can affect us that we don't want. And it's not just Japan, it's everywhere. Much of my research over the last 30 years has been understanding what's going on a planetary level, also on a solar and galactic level. So nothing is separate from anything. And there are cycles of evolution. So there are galactic waves that come in every 12,000 years. This changes things on the sun. This changes things on within the earth, within the magnetic fields of the earth. That changes things within our emotional, mental, and physical bodies. And that evokes new cycles of evolution. So it's been 12,000 years now since the last time that this galactic wave came through. And many people remember that still as when Atlantis sank and when civilizations were destroyed. So that possibility does exist. And actually, it's more like a memory of that possibility that still exists. But we have moved on. We have moved into a different frequency of consciousness. So we're not likely to experience devastation and cataclysm like we did last time. We have the option of creating a completely new timeline, which is a higher frequency, where we can actually move into what many people refer to as the new earth consciousness or as the age of light. And all this can happen very quickly. It can happen within our lifetimes. It doesn't take, hundreds of years. All this is happening right now. We can actually feel the change in the frequency of light coming through. It's affecting us. The first thing that happens when this light comes through, if you're resisting it in any way, is we experience trauma or we experience fear, anxiety. And this is certainly happening for people. But then as we understand what this energy is about, as we learn to integrate this and understand this, then our own body frequency, our mental frequency, and our emotional frequency also changes. And then we can ride this big wave and become much more multidimensional, much more joyful, much more peaceful, much more in unity consciousness with all things. And I think it's really important for people to understand that it's not about someone else telling you about yourself. It's about learning how to understand for yourself who you are, what your path is, why you're here, how you can contribute to society in a bigger way, how you can contribute to Mother Earth in a better way.
Yes.
Because that's what we came to this earth for. We didn't just come to, live a life where you know, we are born, we work, we get married, we have children, we die. It's really about we are called here, we chose to come, we volunteered to come to
Mm,
participate in something much bigger. It's like we have the front row seats to the big evolutionary changes taking place in our generation. And knowing that is such an exciting thing to be on this earth, to understand why we're here and to participate, to be part of the co-evolution of this earth. Yeah,
mm,
so I would see myself as a guide on a journey of awakening. If you're experiencing difficulties on some level, if you're having energetic blockages or emotional blockages or fears coming up or questions coming up, it's like, what am I here for? If you're dealing with a lot of pain in your life, all these things are doorways. It's like the soul speaking to you and saying, okay, time to remember, time to wake up. So, we can have sessions where you learn to trust yourself, remember who you are, so you can use what seems to be adversities and transform them into something beautiful. I wouldn't ever tell anybody they should come to my workshops. But what I will say is if it speaks to your heart, if it speaks to your soul, and if you want to follow up, then check it out.